Hi everyone, Janie here, and today I'm going to show you how I made this absolutely beautiful folio booklet or album. And I made it with one of the kits that came from the Mini Project 2 crafting bundle from VectoriaDesigns. And each kit comes with everything you're going to need. You just need to print it out, cut it out, and put it together. The VectoriaDesigns Mini Projects 2 crafting bundle comes with 5 different DIY folio kits to print and cut and put together. And each of the kits has 2 different paper choices, which means there are 10 different possibilities. And if you don't want the entire bundle, you can purchase each of the kits separately. And at the recording of this video, they're having a launch promotion sale of 70% off, but I'm sad to say that this sale is ending on June 16th or 17th, 2023, depending on where you live. So if you're interested, I would head over there right after you watch my video. The Magical Forest Mini Folio Kit comes with 9 pages, and each page is numbered, and some of them will say print on back of back design. And what that means is you're going to print page number 9 on the back of those pages. Page number 9 is just a background to keep things from being stark white in the folio if something is going to be showing. And so you have 8 other pages with all of the beautiful elements that you're going to need to create this mini folio. And once you've printed them all out, then you need to cut them all out. So it's pretty easy. It's print and cut. And then if you want, you can also ink the edges. And of course, there will be some scoring that needs to be done, and I will show you that along the way. Okay, I've got everything mostly cut out. And there are things that need to be done, like trimming that out right there. And before I do that, I just wanted to let you know that I did all of this with just my paper trimmer so far. And so, there'll be things like I need to cut out right there. Like I showed you right here. There's even things like this that just need the corners done. And to do that, I'm just going to use my little corner punch here from Creative Craft Products and just go in there and boom, that is done. And so there's very little that actually needs to be done by hand. So I just kind of wanted to point that out to you in case you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is an all-day thing with my scissors, because it's not. Your paper trimmer is your friend. And after I get everything all cut out and all the edges done, I'm going to go around the edges and I'm going to ink it with Distress ink in Vintage Photo. And you can use another color if you would like. I'm only using Vintage Photo because I noticed that on the edges of some of these things it's about that color. And so the reason I do this is to get rid of the stark white edges, because you don't want those. And you don't have to ink all over the place. You can just go around the edges like this. And another good thing that this is for, and let me find it. I have it on one of these things here somewhere. Okay, I don't know if you can see it, but right up here at the top. Sometimes when I'm trimming, I don't get close enough to the edge, but it's too close to go at it again. And so that's another good reason for inking, because now, look at that, it's now blended right in. So I'm going to finish doing all of the final cutting on these, and then I'm going to go around and I'm going to be inking all of the edges on everything just to hide any white that might be showing, and I'll be back. Okay, now that I have everything cut and I've got the edges inked, it's time to do some scoring. And before I do it here on my scoreboard, I just want to point out that if you don't have a scoreboard, then what you can do, let me move this aside, is line the edge of a ruler up right next to the line that needs to be scored, and then lift it up and create a crease. So that is how you would do it if you don't have a scoreboard, but I do. So let me set these 2 pieces aside, and what we're going to do is there are two lines that are dark. One that's right along here and one right along there. And they're 1/4 of an inch apart. Let me see if you can see it better. So we're going to score on the dark lines. So I'm just going to put this right on here and see if I can put my head in the way of the camera. But we're just going to score right along there. And then 1/4 of an inch over, we are going to score right along that one. And just fold it right along those lines, like so. And we have created a spine. And yes, one side is bigger than the other. And it really, let me show you here. Hold on. There you go. It's only a little bit bigger than the other side. And that's how it's supposed to be. And here's our spine. And now we have a couple more pieces. And I've actually already done the scoring. So on this one, I scored along this line and along that line. And on this one, there's only one score line. So get it up close here. You can see right there. You score along that line and along that line. And so we've got the scoring done for right now. And let's move on to starting to put it together. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to attach the flap to the back cover. And to do that, we want the printed side all facing up. And then we're going to put our adhesive right along this strip right here. And you can use double-sided tape. I'm going to be using my Beacon 3-in-1 because I really like the wiggle room. So we're not going to put it all the way over here. We're only going to go up to that dark line right there, which is where one of our folds are. So let me just add some glue here. And like I said, you can use double-sided tape. That works just fine. But this is what works best for me. So I'm going to lay that down. And I'm going to get this at an angle where I can see it. And line it up right against that line. We're not going to go over the fold, but right up to it. Just like that. And see, I like the wiggle room because I did not have those even at the edges. Okay, let me make sure that it did not go over the edge there. And there we go. Now we have that part done. Okay, so now, well, this is drying, and actually it's already dry, but I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to get the closures ready that we're going to be using on that. And these are the butterflies that were printed out, and I used my 1-inch punch to cut out the circles. I didn't fussy cut around them, so if you have a punch, that works really great. If not, you can just use your scissors and cut around them. And I also cut out some extra pieces because I want to make these a little bit sturdier. And so what I'm going to do is glue them together. So just put some glue on here and glue that on there. And then I'm going to put some more glue, and I'm going to do this to both of these closures. And I'm not going to make you sit here and watch me do this to the second one, but what I did want to show you is that I am going to be using some more of that distress ink and just ink around the edges to hide the white from the layers that I just did, and just to hide the white from the edges like I did on everything else. So let me do the other one and I'll be right back. Okay, now that I've got the closure pieces all glued together and inked, we are going to mark on here where they're going to go, and we are going to go up about 3/4 of an inch. I think that'll be about right. And let me put a little mark right there. And then I'm going to grab my little pokey tool here. Kind of looks like that. And I'm going to poke a hole right through there. And actually, ouch, that hurt. Okay, I brought this over to do it on, but I guess I don't need that. So there we go. Now we are going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to fold it like this. So it's folded on this first score line right there. And I'm going to find the center. And luckily I have a ruler that does that. So let me see here. It's kind of hard to do it with this black background, to be honest with you. So I may have to move it off from that for a minute. Excuse me, pardon me. Here we go. A lot easier to see here. Okay, and that looks about center, and that is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, it's about 3/4 of an inch. And I am going to put a little dot right there and bring this in, and this time not hurt myself. Let me scoot my mat back over here. And we're going to put a hole, yeah, get my fingers out of the way, right there. Okay, so now I know where we're going to be putting these. And I just happen to have these little yellow kind of sparkly brads, and I thought they would look good up against the yellow and the butterfly. So let's start by, oh my goodness, how about we poke a hole in the center of this too? That might be really helpful. What do you think? Okay, there is a hole in the center of that one, and that looks like about the center of that one. Now I'm just guesstimating, but you can always measure. Okay, so I'm going to put the brad in, and I'm going to stick it right through there. And where did it go? Hold on one second. I made this little thing inspired by one that Tina from VectoriaDesigns has made to help leave a gap, so that when you put the brad in, you're not going flat up against the paper, so that there's enough room to wrap the twine around. And you can laugh. These were, the tops are from Kleenex boxes, off the square Kleenex boxes, and I just glued them together. They already had this notch there, and I just had to put a little slit right there. So, little creation here inspired by Tina. And so I'm just going to slide that on and turn it over here and spread these little brad legs apart like so. And now there is space behind there for the twine when I wrap the twine around there. So it works out really nice. And I'm going to do the same thing. Let me flip this around over here. And so on this one, I want my butterfly going that direction. Not that it matters, I can always turn it around. But we're going to slide that in there. Whoops. Get back in there. Kind of weird doing it from this angle. So let me flip this over. And we're just going to spread those little legs out there. And slide that out, and there we go. So we have those on, and they are ready to go. And what I'm going to do on this side is another thing that I've seen Tina do. I've learned a lot from her. I really do think you should watch her videos. If you're not already subscribed to VectoriaDesigns YouTube channel, you really should. I've learned so much from her. So I'm taking double-sided tape, and I'm just going to put it right over the legs of the brad, just like that. And later I'll remove the protective backing on that. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and leave that on until we get to the next thing that we're doing. So now we have that on there. So let's turn this around the right way. So this is the front. We're going to open this back up. We'll get to these parts in a little bit. But next, we're going to come to this gatefold that we scored earlier, that I showed you that I had scored earlier. And so I'm just going to fold it right on those score lines that I made, and it comes together like that. So it's a really nice little gatefold. And we are going to be gluing this right in here. And so I can show you really quick. We have the two score lines. We're going to be gluing it on this side of the score line, and the same thing over here. We're going to be gluing it on this side of the score line. And so when we get it in there, we should have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. And again, you can use your double-sided tape. I am going to use my Beacon 3-in-1, and I'm going to put the glue on, and we're going to put it in place right there. Okay, I've got my glue on, and making sure that I have it facing the right direction so that everything is, not upside down. And I'm going to pull this over a little bit closer to me, which is another reason why I had to use wet glue, is just to make sure that I have wiggle room. And it looks like I've got it on there just right. Let me hold it up here so I can see it a little bit better. Okay, everything looks good to me. So there we go. Now we have this part done. And now we are going to be adding some pockets to the inside. And so there were these 3 pieces that were in the kit, and these are pockets. If you didn't know what they were, if you bought this kit and go, what are those? Those are pockets. And so what we're going to do is, let me see here. I'm going to kind of line it up where I want the bottom pocket to be. Okay, leaving, equal space on either side. And I think I'm going to bring it down a little bit, like so. Okay, now these pockets are going to be slightly layered. And I know I'm just sitting here fussing with this. So the next one will go in just a little bit, like so. And keeping everything lined up, the next one will go in just a little bit behind that one. Now I can already tell that I have them crooked, so there we go. Now I've got them all lined up, and you're wondering what I'm going to do. Holding this one in place, I'm going to move the rest of them. I'm going to grab my pencil, and I am going to put a little mark right there that no one is going to see. And now I know where to start. So I'm only going to be putting glue on the bottom and the 2 sides, and just a very thin line of glue, or you can always use your double-sided tape. But for this, I'm just going to use my Beacon 3-in-1 for everything. So making sure I have the pocket going the right direction, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down each side and across the bottom. And I'm going to line it up with that line. Just like that. Making sure that I have even spaces on the side so that it's not, all wonky. Which, knowing me, it will be. Okay. And then, same thing with the next one. Just putting the glue down the side and across the bottom and up the side. Try not to add too much. You don't want to have too wide of a border of glue there. Okay. So, got that one. Again, making sure that they stay lined up. And now for the last one. And if I don't have it exactly the same on the bottom, whoops, good. that's okay. I mean, I have them lined up the way I wanted them, but once I start putting them together, it may turn out a little bit different. We'll see. Nope, it's going to turn out just perfect. Just perfect. And so there we have 3 little pockets, and let me go grab something to stick in it so you can see. Okay, so we have 3 pockets. Whoops. There we go. 3 pockets. Okay, now we have these pieces that are going to go on the inside, but we're not going to put them on the inside yet. Okay, because, hold on one second here, because we are going to be adding little closures here. And so we have those, and they are going to go like so. And so, like before, I'm going to measure it out and poke a hole in it. And let me close it up here really quick and grab my ruler. And I got to turn this at an angle that I can see it. So let me get things together here. So from this corner, there's a little corner right there. And this is just my choice. Actually, you can put these anywhere you want. But for me, I just kind of wanted to measure on this one and come up at an angle. And again, about 3/4 of an inch up here. And then keep going straight and about 3/4 of an inch from there, putting a little dot right there. Okay, now those are just my choices. You can put your closures wherever you want, you know, and measure them the distance that you want. This is just my choice, and actually, I think it was probably Tina's choice as well. I learned a lot from her. So I did these the same way. I layered them just like I did these. And I cut them out using a 5/8 inch, I don't know if you can see that, 5/8 inch hole punch to punch these out with. And now I'm just going to poke a hole in the center of these without poking a hole in my finger. Yep, sometimes I stick my fingers where they don't belong. Okay, and for this I have these little sparkly brads, just like the yellow ones. Got these in kind of a teal or turquoise color that I think matches really well with that. So we're just going to poke these through and then through that hole. And again, I'm going to use this little device here, poke it in, and spread out the brad legs. And this is so easy, as you can see. Of course, it would have been nice if I actually got this hole in the center, which I didn't. Oh, that makes me so mad. But you know what? Who cares? I mean, no one's going to be staring at it that close and going, oh, look it, she didn't get it right. Except for me. A little OCD here. But I'll try to not look at it. Okay. So we've got those done. So now I'm going to put tape over these, just like I did on the other one. The reason I'm putting tape over it isn't to hold them in place, but it is kind of a protective layer over those pointy, pointy edges. So I just put that over there, and of course it does hold them in place a little bit. Okay, so now we have all of these things to cover up, and so we're going to do that right now. So I'm going to take these and I will be gluing, where did it go? I'm going to be gluing one on each side like that. And then I'm going to be grabbing this piece and I'm going to be gluing it right on here. And on all of these, we are leaving a border so you don't put it all the way to the edge. You leave a little bit of a border, and you don't go over any of the score lines. You can go right up near them, but you don't go over them. And so I'm going to be doing that and covering this one. And I'll do one of them just to show you, because this is where I remove that protective layer. And grab this. So I'm just putting my glue on the back. Again, you can use, double-sided tape or whatever works best for you. And I'm just using what works best for me. And it's kind of that way with everything on here. I'm just showing you what works best for me, and you may have your own way of doing this, and that's fine. I think we all have our own way. You may want to round corners that I didn't round. You may not want to ink the edges, or you may decide to use, a different color ink to ink the edges. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Basically, I'm just showing you how to put this together, how to put all the pieces together. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be putting all the rest of this on, and I'll be right back. Okay, now it's time for a little more scoring, and I have already scored this one on this line right here and on that line right there, and folded it, and this white part is going to be glued in so no one's going to see that. And I've got that part folded over, and these are flaps that also need to be scored, and they have a line right there. So I just put that right in there and score right along there, and do the same thing on this one. And those flaps will be ready to go. And what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to fold it the other direction for a minute, and I'm going to ink that edge as well on both sides. That way it kind of has the inking all the way around the page. So there we go. That is done. And now let's go put those in the folio. Okay, so I'm folding those flaps on the score lines, and they're going to be going right in here. So right literally up to the edge of the top, but leaving that little border on the edges. And this one, the same thing, only it's going to attach right down here on the bottom. And again, you can always use double-sided tape, but I'm going to be using my Beacon 3-in-1. And so we're just going to, let me see, it goes just like that. Okay, wanted to make sure that I have it going the right direction. And I'll just put my, put my glue right on there. And I'm just going to line this up on the bottom. Wow. I do have one mistake to say, is that it does not leave a border. I thought that it did, but there is a score line right there, and these literally fit edge to edge. So, my bad. There we go. I'm going to be honest with you, this is my first time putting one of these together. So we've got that one done. I'm going to turn this around, and we're going to do the same thing on the other end. And again, it's going to go right up against the edge. And now we know that it also goes right up against the edge of the score line and the edge of the cover here. So just make sure that everything is lined up right like so. And since this is wet glue, I still have time if this one isn't. Okay, and now I want to just make sure that it's going to fold over. And it is. Okay, That is a snug fit, my friends. All right, now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put some of these same little closures right on here. And just like these, I've done several layers to make them sturdy, and I had cut them out with the 5/8 of an inch hole punch. And so, just like before, let me grab my ruler here. I'm going to find the center, and then I'm going to go up about 3/4 of an inch. So, let's see here. Where might the center be? Okay, and that's 3/4 of an inch, I believe. Well, I know if that's a 1/2 inch. There we go. How about 3/4 of an inch? And that looks about right. So, I'm going to put a little dot right there. Going to turn this around and do the exact same thing. It's really hard to do because I'm running into this on this side, so it's, you know, and that underneath, so it's not laying completely flat. But there we go, and there we go. So those should be centered. I hope that they're centered, and I hope that they're in the right spot, because actually I did those 1 inch instead of 3/4 of an inch. I am really not that good. Oh, I did that one. Nope, they're both 1 inch. Well, I don't know. Will 1 inch be so bad? You know what? I don't think 1 inch will be bad at all. So I'm going to leave it just the way it is. And, where'd my little tool go? And I'm going to go ahead and poke that hole. And poke that hole. Grab the little closure pieces and hopefully get this in the center, because I'm just eyeballing it. So about right there. We're going to call that good. And I'm using the same sparkly blue brads. We're just going to stick those right in there and right in there. Use my little gadget here. Flip this over and get these legs. Come here, little legs. There we go. Get those twisted out and laying flat. And do this at the other end. And of course you can see this is really fairly quick and easy. Maybe if my brad wasn't having a problem, it ends up I have a bent brad. Huh. Oh well, there we go. It worked. Oh, look at that one. This is off center, just like that one's off center. Okay. That's what happens when you eyeball things. But if you are looking for perfection, I would highly suggest that you measure instead of eyeballing it. Okay. So we've got that done. And now, where did I stick them? Here they are. Now we have the backs that go on this, and so hold on 1 second here. What the heck happened? Oh my goodness, some of the glue had leaked out right there. Holy cow. Well, that's what happens when you use wet glue. Good thing I'm discovering it before it's too late. So let me pull this side up. It's just from where it oozed out along this edge, and it just kind of stuck to it. But on the plus side, we are going to be covering those up. So back to what we were doing, making sure that each of these pieces is going the right direction. I'm going to be putting those just right in there. So here we go. And I know I keep saying this, and I'll say it again. You can use your double-sided tape, you can use your wet glue, you can use whatever works best for you. So let me just stick this in here. Whoops. Okay, hold on a second here. I forgot to put the tape over that. So put the tape over that and peel that right off. And here we go. Let's try this again. just leaving a little border around the edges there. Just like so. It's easier if you pick it up like I'm doing right now than trying to lay it flat with the brad in there. Okay, so that side is done. I am going to do this side, and then I'll be back and we'll start working on the middle part of it. Okay, let's move this aside for right now, and we're going to bring in this other piece. So this is the piece that I just scored, this white section. No one's going to see. It's going to be glued to the inside of the folio. And so we've got it folded. And then on this score line here, you need to fold it inwards like this. And then this piece right here is going to be glued right on to that. Now, I have to tell you something, because you know me, and if there is a flaw with something, I'm going to point it out, and I really feel bad pointing it out because I've come this far in the video to discover it, and I'm not going to stop. So I have watched Tina's video a million times trying to figure this out, and see this tab right here? It was not supposed to have images on it. It was supposed to be like this side. And it's not. And the reason is because this is going to get glued on right here. And when you turn it over, it's going to leave that on this page. And you're saying, well, then do it the other way. I could do it the other way. I could put it on this way, like that, and then have that be on the back side. And I've thought about that. You know, there's other things that are going to be glued on these, and I thought about it, but I have decided not to. I'm going to do it just the way that it is supposed to be done. So it will be glued on just like this. And I will mention it to Tina, and I really feel bad, and I hope that she does not get upset with me. So I doubt that she will. She's a very, very sweet lady. I like her a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and add the glue right here to this tab. And by the way, I know that it's that way because in her other video, which I'll put a link to because it actually has a freebie for this kit. It's using, you know, different papers, a different paper pack. But there is a freebie, and in that freebie I have looked, and on hers that tab does not have it does not have any design on it. So get this lined up on here, making sure that it is lined up evenly, that it folds nicely like so. Okay, so now we have this accordion fold like so, and we're going to put this in the folio, and then we're going to be adding other things to it. So be right back. Okay, so now we are ready to glue this in. So this white section back here is what we're going to be adding our glue or double-sided tape or whatever it is you're going to use. That's where we're going to be adding it. Okay, I'm going to try to not stick my head in the camera here. Let me move this over a little bit closer to me. And I am lining it up, hopefully correctly. Okay, you want to leave that little space where the score line is. You want to leave a little space. And the same thing on this side. As you can see, I've left a little space. And I'll get it up closer so you can see this. Hold on. Okay, hopefully you can see. I've left a little space on each side, probably about 1/8 of an inch, And you need to also do that on the ends just to make sure that this is going to close properly, which thankfully I got it right, and it did. And I just realized something. Oh no, is it too late? Okay, I'm just going to leave it alone. Oh my gosh, I forgot to remove that protective layer on the tape that was going over the brad. Oh my gosh, I was so busy trying to remember what it was I wanted to tell you that I forgot to remove that. But we're already stuck down. So I'm just going to leave it. I'm just going to leave it. No one's ever going to know what's there, and I really don't think it's going to matter. Okay, so now we have like a little accordion fold. And now we have things that we're going to be putting inside of it. So let me grab that stuff. Okay, so I have the pockets that are going to be going on some of these pages. And I believe you can do it any way you want. So I saw how Tina did it, but I'm making a change because I want to kind of camouflage this piece right here. And so I'm choosing to put these pockets here. And I think that they will look really good. I mean, this is how they're supposed to go, crisscrossed like that anyway. But I just think that they go up higher on the page and kind of blend in nicely with that. So that's what I'm going to put on this side. But I'm going to set that aside for a minute to show you that there are two other pockets. And so I'm going to put those both right here. Whereas the way that she had them, she had one of these pockets, then the crisscrossed ones, and then on the other side one of these. But honestly, I do believe you can put them any way that you want. That's how I look at things. You know, use your own creativity, your own ideas. And so that's what I'm doing. And I'm just going to be putting glue on the sides. Oops, got glue across the top. We do not want that. Yeah, that wouldn't have been a good idea. Okay. Anyways, and then down the sides, or you can put your double-sided tape, and you want to use just a thin amount. So if you're using double-sided tape, if you have 1/8 inch, that would probably be better. If not, 1/4 inch, but you don't want to go any bigger than that. And so let me stick this pocket in here, like so, leaving a border. The border looks really nice, okay? So there we go. Getting glue on my fingers. And we're going to do the same thing with this one. Just down the sides. Do not go across the top in any way. I mean, that's probably obvious. I probably don't need to say that, but I just didn't want anyone to get confused and maybe put, you know, glue other places, and keep it as close to the edges as you can. So get this one in there, and with these side by side, it's kind of good to make sure that they match up with each other so that one's not higher than the other, lower than the other. Okay, and then let me grab something. I just want to make sure that this didn't stick. Remember, I got that glue there? Okay. There we go, and there we go. All right, so I've got those done. Now I'm going to flip this over. And so the way that she created these pockets is that one goes on the bottom and the other one goes on the top, like so. So to make sure that I have them where I want them, I'm going to go ahead and line these up. Wow, that fits right to the corner. Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get it lined up where I want it, making sure that I'm not going past the bottom. Okay. And then just like we did those other pockets where, you know, I lined them up and then drew a line to where I wanted them, I'm doing the same thing on this. So hold on, getting it lined up right where I want it. And now I'm going to remove that. And uh-oh, what did I do with my pencil? I lost my pencil. Not really. Okay, here it is. So I'm going to draw a line right there so that I know where to put this. And yeah, I inked the back of these, even though you really don't need to. But I just, just in case anything showed, I wanted to make sure that there were ink on the edges. Okay. And line it up with that line. And line it up with the edge. Make sure that it's not too close to the edge. Okay. There we go. Sometimes I put too much glue or too close to the edge and it oozes out a little bit. Okay. And now I will put this one down here. And actually, just want to make sure that I have it right. Okay. It's kind of scary putting glue on an edge that's going over the edge of something else. Or at least for me it is, because I keep thinking, oh no, what if I make a mistake? What if I closed it off? Okay, so just put glue on those 3 edges. And I'm going to line that up like so. And I have to be careful because this on the bottom keeps making me think it's the bottom of this page, but it's actually the bottom of this page. Okay, so there we go. We've got that glued in and everything looks good. So hold on a second here. Let me grab this, and this goes in here, but this will probably go in this one because it goes down further, so it's not sticking out the top of the page. But just wanted to show you that there are pockets. Whoops, knocking things over. That there are pockets here that things can be stuck in, whether you're sticking in, pieces like this, or whether you are putting in, photos, memorabilia, whatever you want to put in. So we are still not done. Give me 1 second. Okay. It is time to add the twine to all of our closures. We have a closure there. We have one there, and we have one there. Ah, look at that. I got that one up and got it up too high. Okay, that's all right. Learn from my mistakes, okay? I am not perfect. I will tell you that right now, and I'm not going to try to pretend I am by hiding stuff. So let's start doing the twine. I've got some right here, and I'm just going to wrap it around and tie it. And I think I'll add a little bit more just because my fingers are too fat. Okay, my fingers aren't too fat, but I was just having a little issue there tying that. So we've got that tied. I think I will tie it twice just to be on the safe side. Okay. And then I will just trim that off. Boom. And then to decide how much, that I need. I like it when these kind of overlap like that. That's really cool. Okay. So, sure. I kind of like the twisty look. I think I'm going to do that. So we're just going to go around these a couple times and snip some off. And we're going to do the same thing with these. So grab some more here. And while I'm doing this, I want to point out that if you have some other ideas for closures, you can always use those. Maybe you want to use Velcro or magnets, and those are always an option. I normally don't do this type of closure, but I thought that I would this time. Sometimes it's good to try something new or, something outside of your comfort zone. So we've got that one done. Now we're going to close it up, and I'm going to tuck it. Look at that. I tucked it. Yay! I like that. Part of me wants to just leave it as a tuck, but I'm not. So let me find the end of my twine here and tie this. I am really loving this, by the way. There are several different styles in the bundle that I got. I should probably count before I tell you, but I believe there are 4 different styles, and then there are I believe 2 different papers for each one. And so, you know, there's a lot of varieties, but I fell in love with this one, and so that's why this is the first one that I'm making, and I love it. By the way, you could use ribbon instead of twine also, but I think that this is just absolutely gorgeous. So here we go. Let's open this up, and whoops, one more time, untuck it, and here we go. So let's open this side, and I just love this. So as somebody who does mini albums and things like that, I kind of look at this as a place to put a photo and another place to put a photo down here at the bottom. I should actually move my camera up higher so we can see this all at once, but we'll leave it here. So perfect places to put photos. The same thing here, you can, you know, slide photos and or memorabilia in here. You could put a photo here, flip it open. You could put photos up here or stick photos or memorabilia down there. I mean, to me, this is like a mini album folio. So, you know, just so you know that there are all kinds of possibilities with this. And then over here, I just love this gatefold. It is so awesome. I like that you can connect it like I did. So you open this up, and if you had little photos you can put in there, you know, like little wallet size photos. You can do journaling, and then you have, you know, all of these pockets that are perfect for putting photos in or memorabilia. I think it'd be so cool just to have a photo sticking out of each one, you know, making a little photo mat and sticking them in there. But I just love it, and I like the theme. It's really pretty. I like the colors and everything. And so there you go. I think it's really cool. I will have links to where you can find the bundle, which is what I have. Or if you just want just a certain one, they sell them separately, where you can get, you know, the particular folio design, and then it will come with, I think, 2 different papers. And also I am going to have links below, and maybe on the end of the screen as well, to her tutorials that offer the freebies as well. They're not the same. You will not get the same papers. They're totally different. But, you know, if it's something you just want to give it a try before you jump in. But I will have all of that linked below, as well as some of the videos at the end of the screen here. And I hope that you check out VectoriaDesigns and check these out, and be looking for more of these folios from me that'll be different styles. So happy crafting, everyone. Bye-bye. Well, this may be one of the longest videos I've ever made, but I wanted to make sure that you saw every step of the process. And I also don't want you to miss out on the sale that is quickly coming to an end if this is something that you might be interested in. So look below in the description box for all of the links. And thank you all so much for stopping by.